Welcome to SVG-TV News for Wednesday, April 17, 2024. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves is satisfied with the progress made with the construction work on the port modernization project in capital Kingston. Speaking on NBC Radio Face-to-Face program today, the Prime Minister said that based on information received, work is on target, and from all indications, the project may be completed before the deadline, which is May 2025.
Target. In fact, I will tell you this. There is Johnny P. They may well finish before May, unless there's any particular setback between now and May next year. Mm-hmm. This is all the more reason why the Port Authority is pushing them to order which is now ordered, all the equipment and so on.
In addition to purchasing of new equipment for the port, the Prime Minister said that the legislative work has to be put in place for the management of the new port.
It's easy to have a company set up, state company to run the port, rather than just have the Port Authority, which is a regulator and an owner of ports. But we need to separate the regulatory functions from the ownership and management functions. Okay. You know, so but the legislation will have to separate that. Because the Port Authority Act would have to be, in its current form, would have to be amended or completely repealed and recast within the frame in which I'm talking about.
The new Kingston port is anticipated to increase trade and export and drive economic diversification. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Gonsalves confirmed that as of Monday this week, a scanner was installed at the Kingston port. This as the first one is now in use at the Camden Park port.
Told that the second, as informed that the second scanner, okay, to put it simply, an extra machine for your boxes and your barrels and all the other things which come in, like how the one now at Camden Park found the gun and the ammunition. I'm told that the one in Kingston is operational from Monday afternoon.
On April 9, 2024, the police reported that a 1.38 special revolver, a comprehensive selection of ammunition totaling 2,538 rounds, an extended magazine, and a quantity of pyrotechnics that landed at the Camden Park port were confiscated. On the radio today, Prime Minister Gonsalves responded to opposition parliamentarian Sinker Leacock's call to have the matter reported to the FBI. The Prime Minister said that a report has been made to the relevant authorities outside of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
There's an automatic process that the police would send off all the information which they have to impacts. And the person, say, well, what is happening to engage in the U.S. authorities? Well, there is somebody who is from this agency in the U.S. embedded in impacts to deal with these things. Okay. And it's evolving. But of course, we also, as a country, in particular cases, we make direct, we send stuff directly to the FBI, but we have a process to deal with firearms and ammunition.
In other local news now, we hear that Minister of Agriculture, Soboto Caesar, announced today that farmers' identification cards are now ready for distribution. He said that the Farmers Support Company is taking charge of the distribution. In the first instance, some 300 farmers will collect theirs at the earliest possible time.
I'm happy to announce that since they have been managing the process, they have printed 300 cards, and these cards can be collected at the Farmers Support Company. The process going forward is going to be very simple. You will speak to the persons at the agriculture stations. There will be a registration form. You will fill out the form, and the staff at the station will take those forms to the Farmers Support Company. They will be processed, and I have advised that once the requisite due diligence is done, that the turnaround time to receive your card should be less than 3 weeks.
The Agriculture Minister reminded farmers that ideally no farmer should be operating without identification card. He said that it is now necessary to have one when conducting business.
It is very important that we work on delivering the cards quickly, because a farmer should not participate in the sale of commodities without showing that they are a farmer. And the only way that you can prove that is that when you are participating in a transaction, that you can produce your ID card. So the sooner that we can organize to get the cards in the hands of the farmers, it is going to augur well for us as a country doing transactions with agriculture trade internally.
In this month of April, SVG is observing Child Abuse Prevention Month. One organization that deals with this social issue is the Marian House. Its director, Jeannie Oliver, is of the view that while it is okay to observe the month, child abuse has to be addressed holistically, involving the young people in decision making.
The young people need to be heard, and they need to have a voice. And that voice will be heard during meetings. It makes no sense for us as adults who have responsibilities to address their issues, to identify the challenges that they encounter on a regular basis. It is not for us to sit in our offices, because we are officers, and decide on what challenges these youths are experiencing and plan programs accordingly. It is not for us so to do. It is our responsibility to identify the challenges that the youths face, not us identifying it, but the youths identifying the challenges, and we assisting them in planning programs to address the challenges that they meet on a regular basis.
Oliver, who has been with the organization for decades, said the Marian House has been trying to address the problem of child abuse with some degree of success.
We try our utmost at Marian House to work in collaboration with the respective government ministries. We try our utmost. We cannot do it alone. Life is what we make it. And we have to ensure that our children, our young people, open their mouths. They are sufficiently not fearful, but they have self-esteem that will allow them to speak to the issues and the challenges that they face. We cannot go to the court and order that a protection order be given. We can speak with them, we can counsel them, we can build a trust, and we can be very innovative in the programs.
The Marian House director said that her officers are trained and are capable of dealing with such matters, but it could get frustrating at times.
On a daily basis, this morning, it is what time? Midday? Before midday? And we have dealt with five clients thus far for the morning. trying to reach the police, trying to reach the child care, child development center within the ministry, trying to provide support, trying to provide counseling, trying to lobby and mediate for protection orders for them.
The theme for Child Abuse Prevention Month in SVG is, "You have the power to create a better future for us, the children. Treat us well." And many youths are excited to enter the local hospitality sector. And this is the case for a group of youths at the Marion House who said they wish if there were more courses in hospitality offered at the institution.
What I want to do is basically bartender, but however, unfortunately, it's not in cases of happening, and therefore I had to switch and go to birding, which I already know, but it is good to have a more understanding and knowledge of it.
I like hospitality. The bar is my zone. Like, give me any kind of bar related. Yeah, that's me. We are not currently offering any hospitality courses, so I went with my second option, which was the hair profession. So that's what I went with, because I haven't seen anything for hospitality as yet.
It was bartending and engineering. The plan was to do engineering here and get enough money so I could go away from St. Vincent and do bartending in like a cruise ship or Miami and make more money. If you understand.
The youngsters who say they are facing difficulty being employed were happy to learn of the LEAF program offered at the Marion House, as it is giving them a second chance to become better individuals.
Whilst I was living in Tobago, there's something my great-grandfather used to say. Life is like a wheelbarrow, all you have to do is push it. To all the people who believe that they cannot do it in life, you just have to keep pushing. No matter what people say, no matter how people treat you, you have to push forward, and somewhere down the line you will achieve your goals. As a 17-year-old that had to leave high school in Tobago and come here because of some issues, that is one thing that would keep going through my head. I would just have to keep pushing and achieve my goals in life.
Well, I'm not really regret because go places and learn things, education, learn things, street sense, and learn something, and then basically get work and just move on, get look back to the past.
The program was such a great thing because instead of you being home doing nothing, you could actually come and learn something, and you meet friends, so it's very opening. For someone who's quiet, you could come and you could sit down in your corner, or you could even express your feelings. So I will say, motivate yourself and move on forward instead of sitting down.
More local news now. We hear that a pilot run of an education management information system is ongoing in primary and secondary schools across the country. The education management information system is an integrated model which incorporates an information and learning components. According to Minister of Education Curtis King, the information management system component will allow educators to make informed decisions, while the learning management component is designed to allow for instruction and e-testing. He said the system also caters for the involvement of parents or guardians in their child or children academic development.
The pilot project was introduced in the new school year that commenced in September of 2023. And to start with, it was, it incorporated the primary and secondary schools, so that all the schools are registered on the system. And the schools, through the leadership of their principals and certain selected teachers who are trained to assist with the operation and management of the system at the individual school level. And all teachers are supposed to be participating in this system. Not only that, the system allows for the participation of parents, of course, at certain levels, but certainly it provides parents with the opportunity to interact with what is happening in the schools, especially as it relates to assessment of the.
Minister King said the Education Management Information System is meant to make the work of educators much easier and encourage them to get on board.
And yet, some of our teachers not even doing the basic thing like taking the register. I mean, come on. But what I want to speak to, and I couldn't help sharing this kind of information. What I want to say, while a few, though whether it's 1, 2, or 3, too many, and it's more than 1, 2, or 3 who are not participating. But while you have some failing in their professional duties, I'll put it that way. On the other hand, you have some that have taken this thing and are moving with a pace that is most encouraging.
King said as they enter the next phase, the intention is to use the Integrated Education Management Information System to conduct the national diagnostic tests in primary schools via e-testing.
This early stage is like a pilot. We are doing everything in such a way that we make sure we have a pilot and we address the challenges that the pilot shows up, so that when we start implementing in full, we should have very little issues, because whatever issues which would have emerged during the pilot phase by then should have been adjusted. And I can say we have already indicated that we intend to do our national diagnostic tests for grade 2 and grade 4 via e-testing and using our integrated education management information system. So,
and as students across SVG prepare for the external exams, some could be experiencing stress and a sense of failure, which could be brought on by a state of unreadiness. This is according to Barbadian Councillor Margaret Grant, who was a guest on NBC Radio Let's Face It program today.
You realize what you're telling yourself, jot down some of the things that you've been telling yourself. And this goes for either male or female, because sometimes we tend to think that boys are like cats. You know, we usually say cats sleep anywhere, any table, any chair. And sometimes we tend to think that boys can manage any storm. Just throw them out there and they will get through. But boys need as much preparation as girls. And sometimes I know boys might tend to feel that it's nerdy to be, sometimes they might be challenged in the sense that their friends or their so-called friends might be telling them that, you know, if you are doing so well at school, you're a nerd. You know, you that's a girlish thing. And therefore some boys, in order to maintain their masculinity, quote unquote, they might tend to hold back a bit because they don't want to appear too bright and lose friends.
Grant listed a number of indicators that parents or guardians or educators should watch out for in a child who may be experiencing examination stress or anxiety.
engagement with other persons might also change. They might tend to withdraw. The whole thing about, knowing your body, some might recognize that their heartbeat is racing. They're breathing faster than normal, and they tend to become irritable more often than normal. Okay, then you also have the emotional symptoms, the feeling anxious. They're just anxious. And sometimes this can happen as soon as some children get the exam timetable and the low self-esteem, feeling as though they cannot amount to anything, feeling as though everybody is going to do well except they themselves. And then you also have those who might go blank. They're studying, but they're not remembering anything. And as far as they're concerned, they're becoming concerned because exam time is coming, it's around the corner. And here it is, I still do not know what I'm supposed to know. So the cognitive symptoms are there as well, where they might have difficulty concentrating, they're studying, they're in front of the book, but their mind is elsewhere.
Grant also provided some recommendations for students to follow in the examination room.
Going to the exam already feeling stressed, they look at the time, they look at the exam paper, and they go blank. What I would like to suggest is that they read everything first. And as they read the exam paper, they can actually start jotting down any ideas that come to them next to the question. Okay, sometimes if it is a multiple choice and you read all of those questions first, and of course, if you know any, you answer them as you go along. But question 43 might have relevance to question 3. That was a challenge. And by reading question 43, it jots your memory. Okay, so we want children to realize that what you put in, it will come back to surface as long as you file it in properly. Okay, now, personally, children can do some box breathing. As I said, they have to know their bodies. You have to know when your body is operating outside of the norm. And therefore, I always recommend box breathing.
And Vincentians are being encouraged to apply for scholarships offered by the Indian Council for Cultural Relations, the ICCR, for the academic year 2024-2025. The encouragement comes from Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Kisel Peters, who on the ULP Speeds program last evening outlined the 3 scholarship schemes available to Vincentians, covering undergraduate, postgraduate, PhD programs at 126 reputable Indian universities or institutes. The deadline for submitting application is May 31st, 2024.
The point to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Jashenka, about scholarships. And of course, everything we discussed, no doubt, I mentioned it here, he would have to take it back to his capital and have the necessary discussions. And I was happy when the Indian High Commissioner made the announcement, the pronouncement to me during the meeting that there are scholarships available in India for the 2024-2025 academic year. And these scholarships range from undergraduate, graduate, and PhD courses. And there's the Dr. Radkrishan Cultural Exchange Scholarship Scheme and the Latter Dance and Music Scholarship Scheme. So there are opportunities available as it relates to furthering your education in India. And India has been one of those partners who also has been steadfast in their level of cooperation with St. Vincent and the Grenadines and their support and solidarity for St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Certain skills such as problem solving is crucial for women working in law enforcement. This is according to Constable Kimoni Homer, who on the police beat program said female officers must be able to identify a problem in any situation and knowing how to handle the situation or resolve it to the best of their ability.
You must know how to go about handling the problem or the issue after you identify it. The second one is communication and listening skills. I find I find most people, well, we are all humans.
Yes.
Humans, we tend sometimes to hear but not listen. Yes. Sometimes we listen but not hear. So I think listening skills is very, very crucial. And my third point is self-defense skills. Now, not every department in the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force is assigned to a firearm. And a firearm should not be your first go-to in no situation. So I think a hand-to-hand skill will play a very vital role.
Councillor Homer Strauss said a woman's role in law enforcement does not differ from their male counterparts, as they should therefore be treated equally.
Does not differ from the role of men in the law enforcement. We are not supposed to be viewed as weaker gender or performed less than men because we are females. We deserve the same amount of respect as men from the public.